Hello and welcome back to our video series on why I love celibacy. Today, I'd like to suggest that one of the reasons that I love celibacy is because it's opened up my heart to love on a whole different level than I even knew I was capable of. One might say that celibacy opens the human heart to be filled only with the love that Christ has for his people, and vice versa, to be loved in return. And so I'd like to suggest that I've experienced this level of love in three different ways. The first is to be able to rejoice with those who rejoice. As a priest, I get to experience the joy of the people in my parish, and I get to enjoy it in a unique way. As a priest, I have a unique window into the most joyful moments of people's lives, perhaps on their wedding day, and even the days leading up to their wedding day as they prepare for the sacrament of marriage. If somebody's baptizing their first child or their 15th child, as a priest, I get to be there. If somebody's experiencing great healing or great reconciliation in some way, oftentimes as a priest, I get to be there. But not only do I enjoy the joy of that day, like any onlooker in the pews for a wedding or somebody at the reception, but as a priest, I get to participate it in a way because through the celibate life, really the only thing I got going for me is you and your life. And so when you experience joy, I experience it in a unique way. Living out celibacy, I don't really have anything else going on for me. I don't have anything else distracting me. I don't have a career. I don't have these other concerns. I don't even have a wife and kids to distract me. The only concern of my life is you and the joys that you're experiencing. So when you experience the joy of your wedding day, I get to experience that in a whole different way. Or the baptism of your child or some sort of healing. I rejoice in that to a whole different level because your life is all I've got going for me. It's all I really care about. And so when you experience that joy, I experience that joy in a whole different way. Second, I'd like to suggest that I experience a whole new level of love in suffering with those who suffer. And this is an experience of love, not because I enjoy suffering, I don't enjoy it, but because to enter into the suffering of someone else is a profound act of love. And I was made for love, and so what else would I do? Where else would I be? Again, as a priest, I have a unique window into the struggling moments or the suffering moments of a person's life. When someone has lost a loved one, oftentimes they call the priest to be there. When someone is experiencing sin or some sort of addiction or maybe marital problems, they oftentimes call a priest. When someone's in the hospital, has an illness, they oftentimes call the priest. And so I have the opportunity to enter into the suffering of that person. Again, this isn't something I particularly enjoy. I don't like hospitals. I don't like those suffering moments. However, to have the privilege to accompany somebody through their suffering, to help them, to be with them in that moment is a profound act of love. And as a priest, I'm oftentimes invited into that moment. And where else would I rather be than to be able to love somebody at the most needed moment of their life? This is one of the reasons that I love celibacy, because I'm not distracted by anything else. I don't have anything else going on than to run to the hospital, than to be with the person who's suffering. I want to be there at that moment because the only thing that matters to me is that person. Celibacy allows me to enter into that into a new and fuller way. Third and finally, I'd like to suggest that not only does celibacy allow me to love and experience that deep love of others, but also experience of their love for me. As a priest, I mentioned before that as a celibate, I don't have much else going on for me other than you. And you, I think, recognize that. And so you show your love and appreciation for me. And I can't tell you how much this means to me, how much joy it brings to my life. For people to know how much I give, to know how much I sacrifice, to know how much I care, and to appreciate that in whatever way. In particular, this has been shown to me in a lot of different meetings here at STA. I don't know if you knew this, but before coming to STA, I didn't have much experience in administration or in finances or in fundraising. And so I remember going into meeting after meeting after meeting where my imperfections, my inexperience, my incapabilities were on full display in front of everybody. And while I was fearful of people sort of seeing my inexperience, what I receive from them is their love. even in my imperfections. What I saw was people saying, hey, we know the situation you're in and we want to help. I experienced the love of people saying they want to be there with me, to accompany me in this process. Not people sort of being disappointed, but people saying, hey, okay, we know you may not be perfect. We know you may need help, and we want to be there with you. I can't express how much this love has been a sign of God's unconditional love for me, that despite my imperfections, despite my inexperience, despite my problems and weaknesses, that you have shown your love for me to say, hey, Father, we want to help. How can we help you? How can we accompany you? That's a pretty great gift. Indeed, celibacy is a pretty amazing thing, but in particular, I'd like to suggest that I love celibacy because it allows me to love at a whole different level that I didn't even know I was capable of. I appreciate your love for me, and in a particular way, and as I live out the celibate life, I'd like to suggest that I love on a whole different level because, well, I don't have anything else going on for me other than doing everything I can to love for you. And what could be better than that? What more could I have to live for than for you? To accompany you in your joys, to rejoice with you when you rejoice, to grieve with you and to suffer with you when you suffer, and to experience your love for me. Thank you for joining us for this episode, and please join us next time on our final episode of Why I Love Celibacy. God bless.